Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who Unbound review. Today's review is none other than Exile. This complete and absolute legendary work was written by Nicholas Briggs, a fairgoer to Sainsbury's who knows where the good biscuits are. So, without further ado, let's get into the story. Exile is an audio which begs to ask the question, what if the Doctor escaped the trial? Not the trial of the Time Lord, no. This is the trial from the Second Doctor's era, in which the Doctor is put on trial for pretty much interfering. The warlords are erased from history, but the Doctor's meddling still puts him on trial for all of the times he has intervened in history. However, in this audio, it is explained that the Doctor committed suicide by jumping off of a pylon and regenerating into a woman. Yeah, that might have been a bit too much to handle straight at once, but yeah, essentially, he decides that the only way to escape the Time Lord's justice is because by changing his sex and pretending to be a woman who works at Sainsbury's is essentially going to keep him undercover for a while. But what she goes on to do is completely against what the Doctor usually would do. She sticks to most of the original plan to a certain extent, although keep messing up by calling herself the Doctor every now and then. This incarnation of the Doctor tries to disguise herself as a woman named Susan. Susan who, to be frank. And Susan lives amongst humanity along with her friends Cheese and Cherry, two alcoholic drinkers who spend almost every single night getting hammered and then forgetting everything about the night before. During a few of these psychic episodes, the Doctor looks into a mirror full of vomit. Yeah, vomit. And a TV screen in which she sees her past incarnation pretty much just having an absolute pot at her. She doesn't quite get why, and she feels kind of attacked. And to be fair, you can't blame her. But as he rambles on and keeps making a pot at her, he also tends to be very obsessed with the Quarks. The Quarks get insulted a lot in this story. I'm guessing because Nicholas Briggs isn't a big fan of them. He points out the fact that they can't really go upstairs, and although they have blasters, they're one of the worst enemies in his opinion. Personally, I don't fully disagree with this on the basis that the Quarks were supposed to take over from... it was either the Quarks or the Dominators. One of them was supposed to take over from the Daleks, and it just never kind of picked up. But that's besides the point. Essentially, back at Gallifrey, the two Time Lords who were supposed to put the Doctor on trial realise that the Doctor is missing after getting rid of the Warlords. So they go on a venture in hopes of being able to track down and capture a fugitive Doctor. Upon landing on Earth, the two investigators realise that they have been set up by one of the Celestial agency's teleport ladies, who pretty much got them to turn up to the 21st century looking like a bunch of 16th century poets, and also gave them the wrong money and the wrong thing. So essentially, these agents, knowing the full well that they can't exactly go back to Gallifrey as they put everything on the line, they decide to mug an old woman really politely, apparently, in this audio, and then they take over a bar somewhere out in the countryside. After taking over the bar, one of them takes out a gimp mask and essentially thinks that this will convince the Doctor that the planet is being taken over by aliens. She doesn't quite buy it, but she does begin to pick up on a conspiracy, something to do with Queen Anne, or Princess Anne, and something to do with the Quarks again. The Quarks seem to be turning up a lot. Briggsy, this is sus.
But no, that's besides the point. Essentially, the audio continues on to explain the fact that after she gets over her drunk addiction, her alcohol addiction, she essentially goes off to the airport and goes off to the pub in which the two Time Lord agents are staying. She eventually convinces one of them to go out into a field and lead her to where her TARDIS is. But before she can really get in her TARDIS and fly off to another adventure, she is then taken back to Gallifrey to be put on trial properly this time. Due to the nature of her extremities and the fact that she has transformed herself into a woman, um, the Time Lords see it in their right, in a kind of arrogant way, that they should just condemn her to death. Um, she points out that this doesn't quite make sense. Isn't there another option? They point out that apparently originally they were going to exile her to Earth, but due to the circumstances, the verdict has changed. So they pass their thing and point out that if she ever takes off in her TARDIS, she will pretty much be gone forever. No guards are there to escort her to the TARDIS, so she decides to walk there herself. When she gets in the TARDIS, she finds a mysterious note by one of her executioners, who essentially points out to her the fact that if she takes off, nothing will happen. It was all a bit of a fun and a joke. Little does she know that this was a trap set by the executioners to trick her into dematerializing her TARDIS. Right, that's the gist of the story. However, I do wonder, at the end of this story, Briggsy, in a universe out there, please tell me. I believe that this doctor survived that taking off in the dematerialization circuit. I believe that these two fools absolutely messed this up. They tried to execute her, and in my conspiracy theory, I say she survived, and she's out there somewhere in time and space. Now, apart from that, let's get down to the core being of this story. I love the back and forth between Briggs and Arabella Wire. I hope I said that right. Or Weira. And I love the way that they both communicate their differences between them being the Doctor. Um, One of them sees themselves as a more human like, someone who's gone down to Earth and mingled. The other one sees himself as an extraterrestrial alien who essentially goes around getting into messes and scrapes and fighting bad guys. Cherry and Cheese are two of the most hilarious characters in all of these box sets. Why? Because they're not only companions, but they are very relatable to people you may see out in the street, or people that you may have gone to school with, or people that you may have gone to college with, or people that may just be your friends still to this day. Cheese is just hilarious because once he gets past a certain drinking limit, he believes that all the alcohol has turned to cheese. Um, Cherry is a very bossy but very authoritative character. I like that she doesn't really take any crap from anyone, and she is very certain of who she is. Um, Even when she has that argument towards the end with the Doctor about the "oh, you want us to stop drinking" sort of business. It's an eye opener to the Doctor, but it's also an eye opener to the relationship between their friends. That the only thing they seem to have in common is the fact that they drink. David Tennant and Toby Brooker just absolutely play the comedy to a nine. This audio is literally if Doctor Who was a comedy series on TV. Just if it was just pure comedy as a whole. Um, I love how David Tennant just takes the mick out of Toby's character, just like constantly being like, "Are you sure the human race are going to watch this? Are you sure they're going to fall for this plan? Are you sure the Doctor's that foolish?" Um, I also like though how even in the beginning they're constantly interrupting each other. Both Time Lord, executioners slash trial. They're both very complete opposites, and that's why I think their comedy works so brilliantly. The audio as a whole is a great concept, something that I think would have been brilliant to either be on screen or even if it was just an animation that someone does one day. As a whole, I love this audio, I love the story, I love the plot. Briggsy, you've done a brilliant job. This is a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, goodbye. Stay beautiful and have an absolutely incredible day.